There's a reason that I'm sitting here on Thanksgiving morning to talk to you about my memories for a very specific game. And that would be Zelda Ocarina of Time. Today, not a few days ago, everybody on Twitter celebrated the Japanese release, but today is the North American release of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Came out 25 years ago today, November 23rd, 1998. Wow. Yeah, 98. Man, time really does fly. I have so many memories of this game. So many. So today, I wanted to do a little video on my thoughts on celebrating this milestone anniversary. I don't talk about Zelda hardly at all on this channel. And Zelda and I have had a pretty rocky relationship. I still have a soft spot for it in nostalgia ways, but it's not like Castlevania or Mega Man or Metroid for me. Those franchises continue to be something that I yearn for, that I want to continue playing. But Zelda really, I couldn't tell you the last Zelda game that I bought brand new. I mean, I guess Hyrule Warriors was the last one. Yeah, I haven't bought any Zelda games since then. And I mean, that's even like a spin-off. I'd say prior to that was maybe... No, I did buy Twilight Princess, the HD re-release on the Wii U. But yeah, that was probably the last game that I bought. Zelda Ocarina of Time was a game changer in the same way that Mario 64 was. I feel like there's a revisionist history in a lot of ways where a lot of people really don't understand, especially kids nowadays, don't understand the importance of games like Mario 64, games like Zelda Ocarina of Time. And this is not to bash any specific console or anything when I talk about this. PlayStation had 3D games, for sure. But the era that this game came out in, 3D was just in its infancy. Games were coming out that were utilizing 3D, but some were doing it pretty well, games like Crash Bandicoot, but some were not. Games like Bubsy, stuff like that. But I talked about this a lot in the Castlevania 64 retrospective that I did a while back. People didn't want 2D. People wanted 3D. There's been this whole revisionist thing where people are like, no, Symphony of the Night was the hugest thing ever. No, Symphony of the Night was not. It did not sell initially very well. And there was such a push in the media and such a push by gamers to jump to 3D. And so every game had to be 3D. Yes, there were still 2D games being made because, they were easier to make in a lot of ways for developers. But what we're here today to talk about is the importance of Zelda Ocarina of Time and my own personal history with getting this game and really getting the N64. So this game came out in 1998. I was in high school at that point, and my parents had just gotten divorced as I was coming into high school. It was like the worst possible time because you're making this huge transition from middle school to high school. So I remember being in like 8th grade and reading the articles in Nintendo Power, because I still had a Nintendo Power membership, reading about games like Turok and Mario 64 and Shadows of the Empire. And man, I had such yearning to have an N64 back then, but I opted to, my parents gave me the choice. They said you could either get a computer or you can get an N64. And I really wanted to learn how to use a computer, because back then, computers were a lot of money. And I knew that computers were going to be something that I was going to be using, but I was really interested in them. So I was like, yeah, I want a computer. So my parents got me an IBM Aptiva with Windows 95 on it, and on that I was playing games like Quake and Doom, Final Doom. Quake came out, I think, a little later, so I got that a little later. But yeah, I was playing games like that, and other games too, like Lost Mine and Dr. Brain. That was a really fun one. More of an educational type game, but that was a lot of fun. But man, I that was when I first got into first-person shooters, which I don't really talk about on this channel. In fact, I really don't talk about Zelda on this channel, or Mario 64, any of these types of games. But this is a really important part of my gaming history, if you will. So, I saw the commercials for Zelda. I mean, I went to the movies and saw the trailer. Like, how crazy is that? Before then, I remember playing Mario 64 in the demo. Like, you go to Toys R Us and you would play it, a demo of it. It was just like incredible, like really, really blown away. It was such an important game, and that's not to say that other 3D games weren't important, but Mario 64 was a game changer, and this was a game changer too. This really changed action games and 3D action. I mean, the targeting system, the Z targeting alone, was like revolutionary. So I remember watching the movie trailer, or going to the movies. I don't remember what I saw, but there was a commercial for Zelda Ocarina of Time in the movies. Like, that's unheard of now. Like, they don't do that. When's the last time you went to a movie and you saw a video game trailer? Like, that just doesn't happen now. That's how big of an event this game was. I mean, Nintendo really spent a lot of money on pushing this game, and it worked. I mean, the game sold really well for them. But yeah, I don't remember what happened to my original box, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this is my original game. I'm pretty sure, but this is not my original box. I don't remember what happened to my original box, but this is my Ocarina of Time cartridge, my gold cartridge. And I remember there was like a collector's edition box that, I don't know where I got this box from, but yeah, it's gold. There's a collector's edition that came out that had the collector's edition there, and the box was shinier. It was a little different. I don't remember what happened to that box, but I'm just happy to have it complete in box. That's really what it boils down to. So, getting this game and getting the N64, I remember asking for it for this was probably about 2 years or a year, maybe 2 years after I got a computer, and I really wanted an N64, and I asked for it for Hanukkah. And I remember, this is after my parents had split up, so my mom was living in a nearby town and had a condo, and I was still living with my dad, who was living at the house with my brother. And I remember asking for this, and I didn't know if or when my mom had gotten it. Like, my parents bought it together basically, but my mom was the one who held on to it. So I don't really remember when, but I do remember finding it when I opened up the closet door. I think I was like actively searching for presents. I was like, let me see what I got. Let me try to sneak and find it, which was, not a cool thing to do, but kids will be kids. And I found it, and it was this right here, because this is the one I asked for. It had the Toys R Us, electric green, extreme green controller. So this is my original box, and I don't have the original system anymore. I've talked about this in the Perfect Dark retrospective I did. I don't have the original box, but I do have the original controller, and it still works. Still works great. I still use it. It's like my controller of choice. And the joystick's not terribly worn either. And I played a ton of Mario Party on it. I played a ton of Perfect Dark. I played a ton of Smash Brothers. So I don't know why the analog stick is still working. to these days. It's not floppy, super floppy. It's a little floppy, but it's not super floppy like the way the N64. I don't know. The N64 blew me away. I thought it was a great console. I loved it. I loved the PlayStation as well. I got a PlayStation like a year later. I think yeah, about a year later, I got a PlayStation. So I was at that point experiencing games like Resident Evil and Symphony of the Night and all that stuff. But when this game came out, it was obviously this time of the year, 25 years ago today. And I remember I also got the strategy guide, which this is my original strategy guide from back in the day, which I utilized so much to get. I remember specifically the Skulltulas. Is that how you say it, Skulltula? I remember looking for those, and the heart containers. Looking for the heart containers. But I used this game. This was my Bible for like 2 months. I plugged away at this game to try to beat it. And it's to me, this is the last truly untouchable Zelda game. Now, granted, Link's Awakening for me Link to the Past. For me, Link to the Past is still better than this one, but this one really meant a lot to me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is happy 25th anniversary to Zelda Ocarina of Time. What are your memories of playing this incredible game from back in the day? I'd love to know. Leave a comment down below. Do you have a similar story as far as like getting the game? Did you get the N64 with the game? Let me know down below. Happy Thanksgiving to those watching day of, and I hope you stay safe, enjoy the holiday, and for those of you who don't celebrate Thanksgiving, have a great weekend. More content is coming on the way, so thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.